I think we'll get started. Hello and welcome to Different Choices 2021. This is the disclosure workshop with Lyme Connect, and we're very happy to have them here today. Lorianne Elise Cormilo is the outreach coordinator at Lyme Connect, and thank you so much for being here. We really appreciate you. We appreciate your organization, and thrilled that you are able to join us. So I will now pass things over to you.
Thank you, Nina. So happy to be here today. Before I begin, I'll just give a visual description of myself. I am a white person with super short brown hair, and today I'm wearing a black shirt and a black sweater, and I have a living room scene background with Lyme Connect's logo on it. So I will share my screen and we'll get started. So I'll tell you a little bit about Lyme Connect first. Our mission statement is to rebrand disability through achievement. And we work to do this by breaking stereotypes around disability and leading companies to understand the importance of their employees with disabilities and to value their strengths, talents, and diverse perspectives in the workplace. Our work includes supporting our corporate partners as they're working to attract, hire, and advance their employees with disabilities. We currently have 11 major companies on board as our partners in the United States and an additional 6 in Canada. All of our partners are fully dedicated to integrating disability as a part of their overall talent strategy. And we carefully choose our partners to determine that they are in fact walking the talk, as they say, when it comes to diversity, inclusion, and accessibility. Our current US partners are on this slide here, and they include BlackRock, Bloomberg, EY, Goldman Sachs, Google, Johnson & Johnson, JP Morgan Chase, Microsoft, PwC, Sony, and Unilever. So as you can tell, this is a range of industries, and Lyme Network members are able to access all of the latest roles at these companies, as well as opportunities to network with their representatives at our events. Lyme's focus is on attracting, preparing, and connecting high potential university students and professionals with all types of disabilities. We provide our members with tools, self-confidence, and connections. And we connect our members to scholarships, leadership programs, internships, and full-time career opportunities with our partners. And I'll tell you a little bit more about all of that. So Lyme Connect offers several opportunities for new members. Of course, we have our valuable partnerships that I mentioned, and we also work with professional associations, other disability organizations, and various colleges and universities across the United States and Canada. Our work at colleges and universities includes hosting information sessions and dialogues on disclosure like we're doing here today, as well as panels with students and alumni and other informative webinars. If students join the Lyme Network, they will be able to access, like I said, open roles with our partners, as well as upcoming recruitment opportunities and various professional development resources. One aspect that we're working on right now, the Lyme Ambassador Program. This will be a great leadership opportunity for students who will be able to spread the word about Lyme programs while connecting with other classmates and colleagues who also are thriving with disabilities. So what is the Lyme Network? The Lyme Network is at the center of Lyme Connect. It is an exclusive resource for university students and professionals, including veterans, who have any type of disability, whether it's visible or invisible. We currently have over 19,000 total members and over 13,000 just in the US. Our undergraduate students make up around 3,000 people in our network, and we have another 300 graduate students. And it doesn't end there. Once students graduate and get out into the working world, we have another 9,000 post-grad professionals in our network. Now, if anyone here is interested in supporting Lyme Connect and you don't have a disability yourself, you are also welcome to join us as a friend of the Lyme Network. where you'll be able to receive updates and help support Lime Connect programs. So this is a quick look at what a student will be able to access if they join the Lime Network. This is a screenshot of our Lime Network portal. So you can see at the top, there is an announcement for a virtual recruitment reception for students and new graduates. So for this Lime Network member, if they were interested in attending this recruitment reception, they'd be able to log into the portal and immediately learn about this program and apply. At the bottom of the homepage for this person, there are also some highlighted open roles with our partners. These are highlighted because they match this member's major or professional interests, or if they've marked any of our partners that they're interested in, they would be highlighted there. And this member would be able to learn about the role, learn about the company, and potentially apply. On the sidebar, there are even more ways for this Lime Network member to get involved, including scheduling coaching appointments, accessing professional development resources, and learning a little bit more about our partners. There's also an option on the sidebar here that says notify Lime to support my application. This is something really important that I like to point out because if any of our members do apply to open roles with our partners, they can click this button there and let us know what position they applied for, a little bit about themselves, and we're able to support their application on our end with our contacts at these companies. Lime helps prepare our members for successful careers, and we do this through 3 main offerings: workshops and webinars, individual coaching, and scholarships. Our workshops and webinars cover various topics. Today, we're talking about disclosing disability in the workplace. And in the past, we've also done webinars on highlighting your strengths as a job candidate. And currently, we're actually doing a series covering the intersectional impacts of disability as it relates to other aspects of your identity. Of course, we have even more topics than those, but those are just some highlights. We also offer individual coaching. So this is a great resource, one-on-one appointments with our career coach, where students and professionals are able to review their resume, prepare for an interview, generally build their confidence in the recruitment process, or even discuss their own concerns around disclosing at school or at work and practice that disclosure. We also offer 3 scholarships, and this is really important for university students, of course. So our Google Lime Scholarship, this is for students studying computer science, both undergrad and graduate, and it's actually open right now through December 12th. Our BMO Capital Markets Scholarship is for students studying business-related degrees, also undergraduate or graduate, and that will open sometime this fall. And then we have our Pathway Scholarship for high school seniors, and I will highlight this one in a moment. It will be open this spring. Finally, Lime connects our members to each other, to colleagues, and to new opportunities. We host recruitment receptions each year in the US. In the past, these have been in person in New York City, Chicago, and Silicon Valley. This year, they were virtual, and we're hoping to have a hybrid format going forward. Recruitment receptions are a really awesome opportunity for our network members to meet one-on-one with our corporate partners as they're looking to source talent for new and open opportunities. We also offer 2 professional development programs. I'll highlight in a minute the fellowship program, which is for university undergraduates. And then we also have the foundations program. This is for young professionals 2 to 5 years into their careers, helping them take their careers to the next level through professional and leadership development. And finally, we have the Career Connect portal. This is a portion of the Lime Network portal that I showed you earlier. And this is where our network members can view all of the available job postings from our partners in real time. And those include internships, co-op roles, and full-time as well. So I'm just going to highlight here some of our current and upcoming opportunities for university students. As I mentioned, the fellowship program is a professional development and leadership development program for university sophomores or rising juniors. So our next class, the application will actually open this winter, and students who are currently sophomores will be able to apply. This program includes what is called the Summer Symposium. This is where the current fellows class gather together in New York City for a few days. And it's an opportunity for them to connect with each other, connect with fellows from past years, connect with the Lime Connect staff, and also meet some of our corporate partner representatives who lead sessions and attend a networking dinner. You can tell that this program really has an impact from this quote here from one of our fellows who said, "Finally, I feel comfortable speaking about my disability, and I even learned how to present it in a job interview as an ability." So this is a great quote that highlights the impact of the fellowship program and its ongoing coaching and all the connections that are made for our fellows. Something else I want to highlight for any high school seniors, we have our Line Connect Pathways Scholarship. So these applications for this year's scholarship, they will open in spring 2022. And the Pathways Scholarship is a $1,000 scholarship. The next one will cover the 2022-23 academic year. And it is for any high school seniors with disabilities who will be attending a four-year college or university next year. The application includes one letter of recommendation, and the awards are merit-based, but financial need is also taken into consideration. So if you know any high school seniors or you are a high school senior with a disability and you're looking for a scholarship, definitely consider applying. Another scholarship I want to highlight because it's currently open is our Google Lime Scholarship. So this is for current university students, either undergrad or graduate, studying computer science, computer engineering, or a closely related field. The Google Lime Scholarship is $10,000 for the 2022-23 academic year, and it includes internship opportunities as well as potentially the Google Lime Scholars Gathering. We're not sure, of course, what in-person events will look like next summer, but this would potentially be an opportunity to meet the other scholars as well as Lime Connect and Google staff. So I know that was a lot of information. So if you don't remember it all, just remember these 4 key takeaways. Lime Network members are able to gain what we call the 4 C's through our programs and opportunities: connections, career development, community, and confidence. All 4 C's are super important to long-term career success and to thriving as a student and an employee with a disability. So before I move on to the next part of our presentation today, the disclosure discussion, I just want to pause and ask if anyone has any questions about Lime Connect or our programs or becoming a member. And I'll just give a minute to see if we get any questions there. Okay, I see a question. Are the job openings primarily business related? This is a good question. We do have a lot of business and tech related openings because of those are what our partners focus on, but that's not the only options. I've seen some human resources open. Of course, I don't know them all, but these are large corporations and they have tons of different types of people and jobs available and who work there. So the best thing to do is just join the network and see what's highlighted there. So I'm going to jump into the disclosure discussion here.
Lorianne, I'm not
Lime,
sure if you saw, if
oh,
you have the question, do you have recruiters from every state?
oh, um, so Lime Connect does not have recruiters ourselves. I can't speak exactly to the recruiting situation at our partners, but we work with our members to as they're looking to apply to the jobs. So we don't have recruiters ourselves.
Someone in the chat asks, are Lime Connect programs open to all majors? What if one isn't decided on a major yet?
Great question. So yes, Lime Connect programs are open to anyone with any major. Of course, some things like the Google Line Scholarship are reserved for certain majors, but most of our programs, including our fellowship and our foundations program and all of our webinars and career coaching, it doesn't matter what your major is, or even if you don't have one yet, you're definitely welcome to be in the network and take part in our programs. All right, I am not seeing new questions, so let's jump into disclosure. And again, if you have any further questions, definitely put them in the chat and I'll answer those at the end as well. So at Lime Connect, we do a lot of discussion around disclosure. We coach individually on this, and we also help people disclose. But it's a personal decision and it may not be right in every situation. So we suggest that you determine whether you should disclose, and then when and how to do so most effectively. And I'm going to walk us through these 3 steps right now. So it's really important that when you make the decision to disclose or not, you feel like it's the right decision for you. When we talk about whether or not to disclose, we find that a lot of people have concerns around disclosure. These are some of the common concerns we hear a lot from our members. The belief that people will judge you before they know you. A fear of negative reactions or perceptions of you or your disability. A worry that being out about your disability will negatively impact your career. Or you're just not sure how to have the conversation. So if any of these concerns resonate, just know you're not the only one with these concerns. They're very common. And one of the best ways to start working through them is to hear some success stories. So I have some examples here of Lime Network members who have successfully disclosed at work or at school. My conversation resulted in getting the technology I need. I'm able to do my job better and faster. Another network member said, I shared what techniques work for me to understand verbal instructions, which helps me complete my work correctly and efficiently. This person's manager gave them a code word to use whenever they're having a bad day. And then another network member said, I have found that my manager is extremely supportive, appreciates my transparency, and supports my adjusted work schedule, which allows me to produce my best work. And then finally, this network member said, I've experienced empathy and understanding. When I needed a flexible schedule for physical therapy, my manager said it was no different than a parent needing to pick up their child, which helped me reframe my view of disability. And I realized that everyone, regardless of disability status, has their own needs in the workplace. And I really want to highlight this last example here because I think it shows something really important, which is, of course, that you're never alone. You're never the only person who has needs or needs accommodations or whose life impacts their work. So definitely don't feel like you're alone. Now, what does successfully disclosing look like? It's all about success on both sides of the equation. You can remember that your company hired you for a reason, or if you're disclosing at school, your school accepted you for a reason. They're invested in you as a student, an intern, a co-op student, or a full-time employee, and they want you to succeed. By requesting an accommodation that you need to fully realize your success, you're also helping them succeed. If you decide you do want to disclose, when is the right time to do that? Disclosure can take place at any time, but there are two overall stages. The first is during the recruiting process. So this includes when you're applying, prior to interviewing, or during the interview itself. The second stage is after you receive an offer. So this could be immediately or in an in-between time before you start, or at any time during employment. Or of course, you might choose not to disclose, and that's also valid. So as we're thinking about that, we're gonna just walk through those different options and why you might choose to disclose at each of those points. So if you choose to disclose during the application process, this might be because it would highlight you as a diverse candidate or someone with a strong sense of identity. We see this a lot with our Lyme Connect fellows because the Lyme Connect Fellowship is a really great professional development opportunity that they were able to participate in. And it is often usually connected to their internship experience as well. So both of those are things they want to highlight on their resume as they're applying to their future internships or full-time positions. Another time you might disclose is prior to the interview. So we are seeing this is especially relevant right now as the pre-interview process is becoming increasingly virtual. We're seeing recorded interviews, games, essays, case studies, coding tests, all kinds of things that happen before the interview now. And some students and professionals who are applying to these roles will need some accommodations around that, whether that's extra time or making sure that accessibility tech will work with the platforms. So oftentimes people will disclose prior to the interview in order to get any accommodations that are needed. Another time you might disclose is during the interview itself. So similar to the application resume part of the process, this might be to highlight a certain skill or accomplishment that you have related to your disability. It might also be to address a potentially uncomfortable situation where the interviewer didn't know you have a disability. So you'll disclose that you do and then move on to the purpose of the interview, right? Why you're there. So people will disclose for different reasons at different parts of the process. Something else we want to highlight around the interview. So this is a great time to start getting a feel for the work culture or for your supervisor, if that's the person interviewing you, and a good time to begin determining how you want to disclose or how much you want to disclose at this workplace. So another time you might choose to disclose is after you receive an offer. So this is extremely popular time to disclose because of course, getting that offer means you know that that company wants you to work there. So you feel more secure in asking. Maybe you understand the role a little bit better after going through the interview process as well. So you're better able to identify any accommodations you might need. Similarly, we separate out this pre-start date section because a lot of students with internships, they'll get that offer, say in October, and then they don't start until May or June, right? So there's a lot of time in between. That is a good time to practice your disclosure conversation, have the disclosure conversation, and gives the company time to establish any accommodations that you need so that they're there for you on day one so you can be successful. And then of course, you can also disclose at any time during employment. So this might be because you have an increase in symptoms or your needs change. And so you don't have to worry if you haven't disclosed before you started because you can disclose anytime, even after you start in your position. This is also another option for disclosing because the longer you work somewhere, the more comfortable you get and the better able you are to identify your needs in that specific position. And of course, you don't have to disclose. So maybe you don't have any work, maybe your disability doesn't impact your work. So you don't have to disclose then. And some people never really feel totally comfortable disclosing in their workplace, and that's okay too. So if you have decided you want to disclose and you've chosen when you'd like to have the conversation, the next question is, how do you actually have the disclosure conversation? And we say at Line that there are 4 steps to successfully disclosing and requesting an accommodation. The first step is to establish the reason for the conversation based on your unique needs. Step 2 is to identify the best person for the conversation. Step 3 is to simplify your disability and share any advantages or limitations you might have. And then step 4, actually make the ask, problem solve, and offer solutions that you know can work for you. So let's walk through these 4 steps. Step 1, the reason for the conversation. Some people choose to disclose, actually many people, in order to ask for an accommodation or to get a one-time disability-related need met. Another reason you might disclose is to enhance your working relationships or to alleviate any awkwardness or clarify the best ways to interact. Other people disclose in order to help break stereotypes around disability in their workplace or at their school. And other people disclose in order to highlight their unique strengths that come from living with their disability. So no matter who you choose to, no matter what your reason is for disclosing, you will have to find the best person to disclose to. And so this will involve doing some research on your own to find out who handles accommodations at your workplace. But we also have some insights here from the Center for Talent Innovation. They did a study and found that 39% of employees with disabilities disclose to their managers, and another 24% disclose to their teams. So this makes a lot of sense because managers and teams are who we work with every day. They're most likely to know that we have a disability. They're most likely to interact with us and work with us while we're using any accommodations we might have. So it makes sense that managers and teams would be more of the popular choices for disclosing, but not everyone feels comfortable disclosing to the people they work with every day. And so we also see another 21% of employees with disabilities disclose to HR, human resources. So HR is also a very popular choice to disclose, especially at larger companies where human resources handles any accommodations requests, especially if someone needs accessible technology, they would be probably the place you would have to go to. So again, doing research to find out at your specific workplace or your specific school, where is the right place to go. And just a note here for university students, in order to get accommodations for school, it's most likely you'll need to go to a disability services office at your school. So the conversation itself, how do we have it? So Lyme Connect has some techniques and approaches for that conversation, and we'll go through each of these in a moment. So some of our techniques and approaches that we suggest are to simplify the science, use a metaphor, share only what's relevant to the discussion, highlight your strengths, and of course, practice. So let's walk through these. Simplify the science means to explain your unique disability and describe any strategies that you use. So for example, one of our network members has a disability where they sometimes mix up words. And so in their disclosure conversation, they've explained how they've developed certain strategies to communicate more effectively. Another example would be if you have a support tool, such as a screen reader or a smart pen, you could show the person you're disclosing to how that support tool works. So this is my personal favorite method for disclosing, connecting through a metaphor. So this is explaining your disability through imagery and hopefully helping the other person understand your experience better. And I have some examples here from our network members who have used metaphors to explain their disabilities. This network member described being blind or having low vision. My sight is like if you put both thumbs in front of your eyes and tried to see around them. This network member described hearing loss. It's like being at a rock concert where you can hear the voices but can't make out the words. Another network member described their chronic illness, diabetes. Managing my diabetes is like sailing. It may look like smooth sailing, but I am constantly adjusting the sails to ensure I stay on course. Another network member described ADHD. It is like your brain is a Twitter feed. You only operate in a 140 character space, and then you move on to the next feed. This network member described their dyslexia. It's like trying to read a story, but only seeing every other word. And then this network member described autism. It's like when you get a text from someone who doesn't use emojis, so you don't know how they meant to say what they said, how to read it, or how they felt. So these are just some examples of some metaphors for some disabilities. So maybe one of these resonates with you and you could use it, or it'll help you start thinking of any metaphors you might use for your own disability. So we encourage our members in not only the disclosure discussion, but generally at school and in their career journeys to focus on their strengths and skills as people with disabilities. And we did a survey with our network members a few years ago to find out what they say their strengths and skills are. And so I've highlighted here just the top 6 strengths that our network members spoke about. And these are strengths that any school or company would want in their students or employees. So our network members said that they were problem solvers. They've lived with a disability for a lot of their life and had to figure out how to make an inaccessible world work for them. They also said they're strategic thinkers. Maybe they've had to learn differently in school, or they might be incredibly organized because they never know when their symptoms might flare up. Determination and resilience were also very common strengths. I think this speaks for itself. Of course, people have to be determined and resilient to get through challenges and hard days and keep going. And of course, people are also leaders. This is something that we really see among our network members. Many of them have taken on the role of being a voice for disability and for change on their campuses and in their workplace. Now, in addition to those strengths, we also heard in the same survey from our network members certain skills that they have developed over time related to their disability. So something I'll note here is that, of course, we never want to box anyone in and say, you know, if you have this disability, you'll be good at this. No, this is just what our network members say their skills are. And I hope that it might help some of you start to think about your strengths and skills as you're going into university and the workplace yourself. So in this survey, we heard from some of our members who are dyslexic talk about seeing different patterns that other people didn't see and that was helpful for them in their workplace. We also had network members who were autistic. One of them actually talked about a system that he developed that was really beneficial to his company that came about as a result of how he thinks about the world. We had Some network members in the survey who are blind talk about how they were able to improve their communication and listening skills. One of them actually said they were an attorney and that this was especially important for them because communication and listening are really important if you're a legal mediator. As I mentioned earlier, many of our network members describe themselves as organized and as leaders, and this makes them particularly skilled at management. Curiosity and creativity also came up quite often, as well as technology and accessibility. So we really see these three go together quite often because a lot of our network members have had to get creative by using technology in order to make the world more accessible. So some of our network members even work on accessible tech in their current positions. They bring a unique personal view of accessibility, and that really gives them a lot of skills and specialized knowledge in their work. So again, hopefully these examples of strengths and skills will help you start thinking of your own. And of course, the last piece of advice on disclosure is to practice, 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 and just ask for an accommodation. So it's important that you're confident, and the best way to become confident is to practice, whether that is with your pets or your friends and family, or even just talking to yourself in the mirror. Another place where you could practice your disclosure is with a career coach. Lyme Connect has career coaching appointments available where you could practice, or you could practice with a career coach at your university. What's important is that you get comfortable with it so that it feels like a natural conversation. And then we have some last facts here that hopefully will help alleviate any nerves you might still have. You can remember that 59% of accommodations cost nothing to provide, and most cost less than $500. Also, most employers already accommodate others for a variety of different reasons, including family commitments and other considerations. And then I have here some resources that we'd like to suggest. These can be helpful in a disclosure discussion, in asking for accommodations, and just generally getting ready for joining the world of work. So I will put some of these in the chat now. The first is the Job Accommodation Network, or askjan.org. This is a really great resource to find out about the different types of accommodations available at work. So what we find a lot of times is that students, they know what they need in school in terms of accommodations, but when they get to the working world, those accommodations might need to look different. And so the Job Accommodation Network has just a huge amount of resources on pretty much every disability you can think of, and talks a little bit about the different types of accommodations that would work for each disability. So this is a great resource to go to for some ideas there. Of course, another resource is University Disability Services Office. So regardless of the school that you're in, your university probably has a disability services office, and they're there to help you with accommodations in your academics. In the world of work, the employees at the companies that you're interested in or interviewing with or potentially hired by are great resources to find out what life is like there with a disability and different accessibility options. One resource in particular would be an employee resource group, or an ERG, that focuses on disability or accessibility. And then of course, Lyme Connect. We're here for you, whether you're a student or you're out in the working world, and we'd love to hear from you, potentially have you join our network. And I personally would love to talk with any of you here today. So I put Lyme Connect's website in the chat as well, and I will also put my email because, like I said, I'd love to hear from you and talk a little bit about Lyme Connect with you. And then that is my email for anyone interested in connecting. So I will stop here and ask if anyone has any questions on either Lyme Connect or the disclosure conversation, definitely drop those in the chat and we'll talk through them now. I will stop sharing my screen as well. Oh, I see a question. Is there a fee to join Lyme Connect? Great question. There is not a fee to join Lyme Connect. We are supported by our amazing partners, and so the Lyme Network and all of our resources are available to our members, no charge to them. Sorry if you can hear those sirens in the background. Live in New York City.
I say same here. So I apologize.
Always.
Do you have any, like, what are some examples of in colleges, your undergrads? Are their conversations a lot different than your work people, or is it pretty much very similar?
Sure, it's a good question. So I would say in terms of the conversations we have at Lyme, we usually work with university students as they are applying to internships and applying to their full-time roles. And so their questions look similar to professionals because they're looking for accommodations at work, but we also hear from the universities that we work with. Of course, students have different needs in school itself. So some of those might be, extra time on exams or flexibility with the syllabus or deadlines, things like that, as well as other maybe tech things. So captions on videos or receiving materials in a different format. And so some of that does overlap with work, of course. Captions would be a thing you might need at work too, or flexibility on your work schedule. So they're similar, but a little bit different.
And they're not exactly like in school, it's at least up till at the end of high school, it's guaranteed. But then at work, are there any legal ramifications if they don't accommodate you? Like, do they, as much as in school, like, do they have to accommodate you at work?
Sure. So I don't know the ins and outs of the ADA, but of course, the Americans with Disabilities Act does also apply to the workplace. I'm sure there are different legal details there, but generally speaking, at least with our partners, we know that they will work hard to accommodate whatever you need in the workplace.
How have you found your partners? Like, what's your, is it knowing somebody in the, like, do you just, how do you approach them, I guess?
Good question. I have not been privy to that process. I know we've had some of our partners for quite a while. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure. I know we do have network members who also work at these companies, and so sometimes they'll make that connection, and it really is a network, the Lyme network, right? So it's all about knowing the right people and really giving that personal connection.
Any other questions, thoughts, concerns? I think your presentation was so thorough that it really did cover a lot of what everybody kind of wanted to know about this topic. So I really appreciate all you've done. Yeah, it really, really was.
Thank you. I do see there is a question here. Let me read this.
Sorry. Yes, Heather. How would you disclose a mental health challenge like high anxiety or depression? And what about disclosing a physical need, more personal, like frequent use of the restroom?
A great question. I mean, definitely they're different, and so the conversation will look different, but I think the same tips will apply either way, right? Focus on the accommodations that you need and not sharing anything more than you need to share, right? So, and that's going to be individual, and it's up to you how much is the right amount to share for you. And it also will depend who you're talking to. So, for example, if you feel like you have a good relationship with your supervisor, you might choose to disclose a little bit more because you know you have that personal connection there. If you're talking to HR, human resources, right, you might just want to go in and say, I have a disability, I need this. How do we make it happen, right? A more clean cut type of conversation. So it's definitely individual. But I think generally the same ideas apply, and focusing on your strengths also a really great, just that strengths mindset is a good thing to have going into any conversation in the workplace. And I also think if you know you have any really particular concern about a specific accommodation that you need, or you're not sure about the conversation still, that's where career coaching can be really helpful. So whether that's through the Lyme network or through your university career services, that is the place where you could get further advice really specific to your situation, or even practice the conversation itself.
Are you currently looking to kind of branch out into different colleges? Are you on different campuses as part of the disabilities office, or will you be, or what's your strategy there?
Sure. So we work with a bunch of different universities. So this semester, I was able to do information sessions virtually with, I think, around 10 different schools. And then I'll be doing some more information sessions in the spring semester. So we also do some sessions with university staff to basically walk them through similar conversation here, how to support their students as they're career searching. And so there's a couple different ways we work with them, and we do get some new university staff reaching out, and so they'll join our newsletter, or we'll talk with them one-on-one as well. So if anyone here works at university, definitely email me and we can talk.
It's great. I think also, a lot of what we've talked about over the past few days in the fair has been how do you get your student ready, right? But I think a lot of what you're doing, and what I love, is that you're also like, how do you get the workplace ready? Like, we don't have disabled people don't have to be as resilient if the schools and the workforces are a little bit more accommodating and forgiving, right? So I appreciate that you're making that helping them make that transition. Sorry, Heather says, have you ever had a student where accommodations were not granted when disclosed, and what should you do if this happens?
Okay. Well, first I'll speak to Nina, your point. Definitely, it's important on both sides of the conversation, right? We want to talk to schools, we want to talk to workplaces, and we want to talk to students and employees themselves, because it's not a one-way street, right? It's about asking for accommodations and also being able to get those accommodations, as Heather pointed out here. I personally do not career coach, so I don't have a story on when accommodations were not granted, but I imagine that when this has happened with any of our members, I'm sure they come back to us and update us on what happened, and we'll just go from there. And it really is individual depending on the person and where they work, and specifically what accommodations they were. Something that I'll say sometimes happens more often is maybe one specific accommodation that was asked for can't be met, but then an alternative will be offered. And so then it becomes a question of, does the alternative work? Maybe some of it does, some of it doesn't, and it can be a back and forth, but hopefully, you land on something that will work for everyone.
Yes, thank you so much. Lorianne, you were wonderful, and we appreciate you. Thank you for all you're doing. Thank you for what Lyme Connect is doing, and thank you for being here today. We really hope to work with you in the future more and help you make these changes. So thank you.
Yes, of course. It was my pleasure to be here and to answer all the questions. I love getting questions, and I think that these sorts of conversations are really, really important because, like you said, students are very supported. And then, we kind of get to the world of work and where do the supports go, right? And so we want to be there to help support students and professionals in those transitions. So, like I said, if anyone wants to continue the conversation, definitely get in contact with me, and I'd love to continue working with you all as well.
Great. And also, please follow us on social media. We're on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. This video will be sent only to registrants, but other videos will be on our YouTube channel for you to browse through. So thank you everyone for joining. Thank you, Lorianne, and we'll see you soon. Take care, guys.